reason I came to Lagos was largely to visit the whole pipeline bust in the Arepo Mosimi axis. We did a very major discovery. As you're aware, in the last 1 month, I've been working very hard to see how we can get back a lot of control over most of our 5,000 kilometer nationwide pipeline control. Because without that, distributing products is a nightmare. Pumping crude to refineries is a nightmare. Nothing just works. We're making huge progress, but in the course of that, the contractors who are handling the System 2B pipeline, together with the military and the security forces who work with them, made a major discovery of a community where it was almost like they had set up a whole distribution pipeline, distribution portfolios, distribution depot, moving almost 100 to 200 trucks per day by simply busting pipelines, and they very concerted. Must be over 1 million jerry cans in there. About 7 to 10 vehicles were seized, over 1 million jerry cans seized. Areas of pipeline ruptures and intervention along the pipelines were discovered, and they're right next to see. I think a lot of people have been arrested. Some are nationals of Ghana, some are nationals of Togo, some are Nigerian nationals. So probably one of the biggest catch discoveries that we've made over this issue since we started. I must say that I was very disillusioned because given all the energy that one is put into this, and almost to the point of saying that by the end of the month I'll be close to, taking control of most of this pipeline. 2 incidents have happened. Of course, the blowout in Escravos first came in while I was still in Davos, and then returning back today to find this discovery. Much as I was happy that it was found, but it just took a lot of wind off my sail in the sense of what next, and who knows how many more have not been discovered. So it was important. I think this was carried live, if I'm not mistaken, the whole process of that visit. It was important for Nigerians to understand the sheer anonymity of the problems that you're dealing with, trying to distribute products in this country and trying to run this industry. And what I said to the president was largely, at the end of the day, the responsibility for protecting the assets of Nigerians must lie in the hands of Nigerians. There isn't any magic that I have, that I'm going to be able to deliver a zero incident environment, given the amount of attacks we're getting everywhere. But at the end of the day, communities like these ones must begin to rise up and say this is just not right. Because for every loss that we have, people may make personal gains, but it's a loss that the citizens of this country are suffering. It makes distribution much more expensive. It makes queues and scarcity a much more recurrent decimal. It makes the efforts of everybody who's worked so hard to try and just change the pace very difficult to succeed. So I definitely was very disillusioned with what I saw today. It was like a whole village really just set up for the purpose, of just busting pipelines, getting it loaded and taking it out. And the manners of those who are collaborating in this will obviously be much wider than we thought. And hopefully, as the security agents have arrested about 7 to 10 people, hopefully in the process of that, we will begin to get a bit more information in terms of those who are involved. Certainly, if anybody within my own system is involved in this, the full strength of the law will be brought to bear on that individual. But whoever else is involved, this was a major important discovery, albeit frustrating. Let's put it this way: a lot of work is going on. There's a lot of collaboration. There's no want of collaboration between myself and the security chiefs on this issue. And when you say real-time online, it's that process that actually uncovered this. It's part of that process. But at the end of the day, Nigeria is a huge place. The pipelines that our founding fathers thought fit to put in place cover very massive acreages, 5,000 kilometers. You literally need to deploy the entire military force of this country around every inch of pipeline to be able to avoid or be able to detect these things when they happen. Once you're dealing with situations where people think that it is right to live by crime, and that's fine, as long as the process make you a big man. You're dealing with a whole societal issue that you can't change overnight. And it's not just in pipelines, in every aspect of our life as Nigerians. But in terms of kingpins, about 7 or 10 people were picked up. Now, whether they're the individuals who are doing the bigger type business, I don't know. Until those individuals are grilled and come up with confessional names. There isn't much anybody can do. But what is important at least is a clear message to people that somehow we're beginning to break into some of this. This is probably one of the biggest catches that they've seen. I've given some specific orders in terms of recovery of what they found, in terms of taking down all the batches that were built, and hopefully something will come out of it. But vigilance is key. My job as Minister of Petroleum and Head of NPC, as much as it obviously requires me to keep some level of surveillance over pipelines, I'm not a member of the security force. There's nothing I will do in which I'll turn myself into the chief of police or chief of army or whatever, or have special unique skills. And indeed, there's nothing the army itself can do if Nigerians or collaborate with individuals, in this case, even citizens of other countries, to create this sort of environment. After all, there are villagers living there, is a community that is ongoing, well set up community. And right behind and within the village, there this massive operation has been going on for how long, I don't know. So I'm as frustrated as any Nigerian would be with this. But what's the answer? Just keep going, keep finding solutions, keep working at it. I promise to work at it, that's what I'm doing. Yes, you hit the nail on the head. I think it was one of the things living there today, my disillusionment. That's certainly one of the things that hit me, that you needed to begin to talk to the two bodies of the Federal House to say, what more legislation can we put? This has become such a serious issue, whether it's busting of pipelines or bombing of pipelines or just tapping into it to create this amount of loss. It's gone past the normal criminality. And this is basically major economic sabotage in the country. And we need to begin to send a very clear message through legislation that we're going to treat this differently. Perhaps with even different types of court systems or whatever. But like I said, I'm going to throw everything I have at it. But at the end of the day, the Nigerian moral and support structures will have to question itself. There isn't, I'm the only one in the OPEC family that last time we went for OPEC that deals with the issue of your citizens actually busting your pipelines. I mean, it's, it's when they talk about it, look at you like, where are you guys from? Nobody else, no member of OPEC suffers that. So different from just the policies that should guide the industry to some level of perfection, you've got to deal with almost an attack on criminality. So it's the uniqueness of what we find ourselves in, and I'm praying that a lot of suasion, different from even over-criminalization, because, I mean, you've had many instances in this country where you put death penalties on incidences, and they just continued, So I think the key thing, I keep emphasizing on the fact that Nigerians have got to see these things as their own assets, have got to report out, have got to try and discourage it, and communities will have to make better efforts as this. I'm also asking the Group Public Affairs and MPs to publicize this sort of things as much as possible, so genuine people can see how much difficulties we're having in this, and then also see how much more we can work with communities so that they begin to get a sense of ownership, a sense of responsibility to prevent people from at least using their perimeters, community as a staging post for some of this criminality.